Have you ever wanted to improve your decision making? In this video, we'll look at wisdom, what it is, what it's for, using it to improve our decision making. Decision making is an essential part of personal growth for all of us. We will look at 5 areas: what wisdom is, what it's for, how to acquire it, knowing if you have wisdom or not, wisdom that satisfies, moving from short to long-term decision making. What wisdom is, what it's for. Wisdom is the ability to make good decisions by applying the right knowledge, life experience, and understanding to a situation or set of situations. It is important for us to realize that lots of knowledge does not equate to wisdom, nor life experience or even understanding. People can know a lot and make bad decisions. Similarly, some people have repeated patterns of bad life experience. There are times where people understand everything and do nothing with it. Wisdom is a key ingredient for being able to navigate life generally and make the decisions needed for life improvement. Anytime people improve their lives in a way that is sustainable over the long term, they have consistent good decision making. Since we want to improve our lives, then getting wisdom is a core part of being able to do that. Consistent bad decisions will lead to outcomes that we don't want. How to acquire it. Wisdom requires application and consistent practice. There are 2 main sources of wisdom. One is learning from life experiences to improve your decision making. The other is advice from others. A key part of this is noticing good patterns and bad patterns in our lives. If we only see things as an isolated event, then we won't see the lessons we need for improving our decision making. Let's take a straightforward example. Let's say someone, we will call him Joe Bloggs, gets on an airplane, and as he just got on the plane, he puts his tickets on the seat next to him to put his belt on. After that, he starts putting his music on, he has a sleep and then wakes up when the plane lands. He then gets up and gets off the plane. He realizes after he gets off the plane, when he collects his bags, that he left his return tickets on the seat next to him on the plane. He attempts to get access to them again. Unfortunately, they are not found, and so he has to pay a charge to get the return tickets reprinted. After he gets home, he thinks to himself that it was a one-off. He doesn't think about how he could prevent it happening if he was in the same situation again, because he doesn't believe it will happen again. So he goes on another plane, a different time, he does the same thing again. He ends up paying a charge again. If he sees this as a pattern, then he will learn from it and ensure his tickets are kept on his person. If he thinks it is an isolated incident that won't repeat, then he will set himself up for it to happen again. This is an example of a bad pattern. The sooner we can spot these, the better we will be able to change our decision making around them. What about good decision making? Let's say we started doing some weights. We noticed that from doing some weights once a day, our mood was better over multiple weeks than if we didn't. So we implement it as a routine. From doing that, we get positive results over the long term. This is a positive way to gain wisdom from experience. We will now think about wisdom from others. With our previous example, we might see various gym trainers, etc., to help us in figuring out how to make the most of the weight training. For gaining wisdom from others, we want to ensure we have trusted sources of information. For a source to be trusted, we need the theory, practice, and long-term outcomes that we are looking for. Knowing if you have wisdom or not. The ultimate test for wisdom is, does it work in the short term and keep working in the long term? When it comes to wisdom in your own life, are you learning from the good and bad patterns in life and seeing the good results of better decision making? We can take time in our lives to analyze our decisions and think about what the consequences of them have been. If we don't want to repeat them, look at what, if anything, we could have done at the time to change the situation. Then take those lessons for future similar situations. We can have things other people think sound great, but we could find are not so great. The best way to acquire wisdom from others is by finding those who can give us both the theory and the result of the practice. When they have both the theory and practice that has led to a good short-term and long-term better outcomes, according to what we are looking for, then we have found a reliable source of wisdom. Wisdom that satisfies. Wisdom can come with frustration, regret, and nostalgia sometimes. Regret is something that will keep you in the past. It does not help you move in a positive direction in your life. It acts as a weight, as a hindrance to keep you from the improvements you are seeking. Frustration can come when we have the experience, the understanding, but we haven't had the opportunity to put the new decision-making skills into practice, so the wisdom might feel worthless. In this case, we can make a note of it up for ourselves and have the satisfaction of knowing we are equipped. If a similar situation comes up again, we can focus on gaining wisdom in areas where there are situations that are coming up. One of the best ways to gain satisfaction from wisdom is to actually use it to help other people that we care about. When we see others get good results, not only do we know it works for us, but it has wider application. Look over good achievements, good decisions, as a reminder of the positive impact of wisdom. However, this is not the same as nostalgia. This makes us think the past was better than the present, where we see all the good in the past but none of the bad. Nostalgia can lead to negative emotions about the present, hopelessness about the future. It can act as a form of escapism that prevents us from making needed improvements in our lives. Moving from short to long-term decision making. People are all at different places in life. At one end of the scale, there is short-term decision making, often done in the context of fear and anxiety, where every decision is an emergency-style decision. People can get trapped in this as a cycle. To begin to break out of that, we have to move from decisions based on the current situations to decisions based on the current situation and a step ahead, 2 steps ahead, and so on and so forth. We need to find ways to improve ourselves to get better situations. To break such a cycle will be difficult, but over time we can build in any small improvements we can that make things better than just the repeated cycle. As life improves, we can get to a place where we can do short-term, medium-term, and long-term planning. This is the place where we are not just reacting to circumstances, but have plans, budgets, and direction. This is where people will live a good life and then pass it on to either their children or where they want it passed on. As I have grown in wisdom in my life, it has helped me to not just make good decisions, but to also avoid bad ones. As you apply wisdom to your life, the good decision making will help your own self-improvement. Like birds of a feather, we grow together.